I don't know if I sound different, much different to John. I don't think so. I hope not. And I will see what it sounds like. I'm testing a new wireless lab, which is very cool. It's got a both USB-C and TRS, TRRS wiring capabilities. So it basically can work with anything. I've got it plugged into my Surface Pro 11 right now, and I've got a wireless lav on my t-shirt collar, and I'll put a little photo so people see what that looks like later. And well, we'll see how it goes. Last week I was using this. I happen to think it's a very nice Bluetooth headset. It's very, I think it's very affordable. And also for review. And so we tested that, and John noted at the very beginning, he says, "Hey, you sound a little compressed." And of course, I can't hear myself. I'm not monitoring through the headset. I'm just listening to John through the headset, and he sounded fine, of course. And I thought about it later about why that might be, because I tested this earlier using the sound recorder on Windows to see what it sounded like, and I thought it was okay, not compressed. Then I realized this is like many headsets. It has automatic noise reduction, which is great if you're going to be on a conference call or something. But Google Meet, and you can't turn it off on a headset. Google Meet also has, I think it's optional noise cancellation, which I turn on all the time. Like right now, there's water running behind me, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's just handy to have if you're going to be on a conference call or recording a podcast, and you're not in a studio environment like most of us are not in the studio environment. So if you have noise cancellation on your headset, and you have noise cancellation, AI noise cancellation on your recording tool, I think it's just going to, reduce all kinds of frequencies, perhaps a little bit more than you want, and hence compression. So I have this wireless lav does have noise reduction capabilities, but I think I have it turned off right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it turned off right now. And so we'll see how it sounds in the finished product. But I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty small, which also means it's, well, I guess it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it's also fairly lightweight. And we'll see how I sound on the finished product. Anyway, so John, I don't use it. I don't think you use it, but we got to talk about TikTok. As everybody else
Yeah, I am. Well, I mean, the latest indications is that within 24 hours it might be back anyway.
Yeah.
So there's an interesting. That's a whole interesting thing. This is much more politics than we ever want to get into.
Yes,
Than I think
absolutely.
actual reality of anything. But what I thought was interesting was the collateral damage. And you noted one of the things. One I noted this morning on Reddit, someone was saying that the Lark CRM platform went down, and that was
And
what
I
their
didn't even know
company
what
was
Lark is.
using. Yeah, Lark was apparently ByteDance started Lark, and then this sysadmin thought that they had fully divested themselves, but apparently they did not. So it was still under the law in a sense, where Lark had to go offline.
Yeah.
Of course, people were going, well, I didn't even know anyone was using Lark in the United States, but apparently they are. But you mentioned one that a lot of people in our space might note that I know you've played with.
Yeah. So ByteDance has well over half a dozen products. The three that I think we know of are, well, now four, now that you've told me what Lark is, is, the biggest, of course, is TikTok. The other is a Marvel game of some kind, like Marvel Comics game that apparently is a ByteDance product, and Lark. And the third is something I played with recently called CapCut, which is a really well-regarded video editor. I thought it was pretty easy to use, and so I was like, maybe I'll take a look at it. I did notice it was from ByteDance, and I mean, not that I have anything sensitive. I have no sensitive information that I work with when I edit videos, and so I thought, well, maybe I don't care. But it's ByteDance, so I kind of left it on the side for a little while I tried to decide the ramifications of using something from ByteDance. And sure enough, along with the other ByteDance products like Lark, and of course, the big one, TikTok, it got turned off. So if you go in, and I already had CapCut installed for testing, And so I fired it up, and it came up as usual. That's not a problem. But when you try to sign in to use, some of its features and so forth, you get a 503 error. You get a HTTP error. 503 service temporarily available. And so we'll see what happens in the next couple of days or hours. But it'll be interesting, I think, interesting is probably not the operative word. It will be, I'll use the word interesting. It will be interesting how people who use this regularly as their workflow tool to edit, video podcasts or whatever they do with it, they're probably up in arms today especially if they're going to deliver something tomorrow morning or whatever. So I laugh, but I do feel sorry for those folks, and I'm glad I didn't start using it regularly.
Yeah, very, very same. When TikTok first came out, I didn't jump in, and I've been kind of happy I never did that, given what it did to a lot of people lamenting the fact that they don't seem to be able to get off of that app, and other products as well, CapCut, and I suppose we're just lucky that we're not on the bleeding edge of anything.
Well, we're lucky we're not, even though you're much younger than me, neither of us are in that demographic, or the wide demographic. I know people my age who use TikTok, but we're not in the obvious demographic for TikTok, and I've never, looked at it. I think the only TikTok videos I've seen are the little shorts reposted to YouTube, and maybe some reposts on Instagram, and that's pretty much it.
Yep.
So, well, I hope all the TikTok people either find an alternative or that they get turned, especially people apparently people make money off TikTok.
Yeah.
I say this like an old person that I am, but people make money off all kinds of things, and TikTok's one of them.
Well, I do know in the creator space, TikTok was the first to really reinvest in short form creators.
Yeah.
YouTube was very late to the game on that, and Facebook, Meta, they haven't really facilitated that as much. So for those creators that their content made a lot of sense to be in short form, and there are plenty of them out there, it is really, I'm sure, very frustrating to have the primary source of income go away in very questionable technical aspect. We can leave the politics out of it, we can leave all that, we can say from a technical aspect of security threat, it's very hard to make an argument that it's actively being exploited or it has been exploited, but who knows? All of the government's information on that is classified, and no court has asked to see it yet, so who knows? It is what it is.
And of course, for people who are trying, or not trying, but who have been looking at going to another alternative service, including some other services also based in China, and they use CapCut to create their TikTok videos and are now trying to repost otherwise. They are so sadly out of luck. Anyway, I wish them well and hope they figure out what they're going to do. But yeah, that's an interesting situation. I'm not sure. I guess it's been turned off in India also, from what I read. And I can't remember what the folks in India are using, but it's never been turned back on over there. Or if it has been, people have migrated away, and that's no longer their primary video shorts platform. And that's a lot of people. So it can be done.